Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Master Duel video for you. Coming at you with a Kashtira variant. It's been quite a while since I played Kashtira. This is Kashtira Zoodiac. So, I came about to playing this list mostly looking for something cool to do with my 3 copies of 7th Tachyon. Of course, this card will be good for Ryziel among other decks that are coming out in future updates at some point, but for the time being, I wanted to see how I can make use of this card. Ideally not in a stun deck, so there is Vanquish Soul, I am aware of that, of course, and I do want to work on that as well. Also had the idea to try this in Madolche, since this can grab both Madolche cards and Self cards as well. But actually the first list I landed on was Kashtira, because I did also want to play Kashtira at some point as well. The play rate of Kashtira, not only as an engine, but also as a deck, has actually gone up by quite a bit. And it's because Unicorn's effect is at kind of an all-time high for how good it is. Namely because so many decks are playing Fiendsmith engines, you can use Kashtira Unicorn to great effect against the Fiendsmith engine. You can, depending on like what part of their combo line they're in, you could either take Sequence to stop them from having anything to go into off Moon of the Closed Heaven, or Requiem, stop them from having to go into anything off Moon of the Closed Heaven, or you could take Sequence and just stop their overall Fiendsmith engine, as opposed to just keeping them from getting bodies. Again, it kind of depends on how they're playing and what part of their combo line they're in when you activate the Unicorn effect, but either way, quite good in this format. So, I have seen Kashtira decks that are playing 7th Tachyon and just grabbing like Fossil Dino with it, and that is effective, don't get me wrong, but I personally think it's a little boring. I wondered if we could do something a little bit spicier. That's when I remembered that I'd actually played around with Kashtira and Zoodiac in the same deck in the past. The idea being that Kashtira engine just uses your special summons, so you can still go, normal summon a Zoodiac monster and end on either F-Zero or a Trident for a little bit of extra interaction on your board, and you still get to play the Theosis stuff because you don't care if you get Xyz locked, right? And so by a similar note, you don't really care if you get Xyz locked off something like 7th Tachyon. Now, 7th Tachyon can grab any of the Zoodiac monsters because we're playing number 106 Giant Hand, which is the Earth attribute. But more than that, we can actually also use number 105 Battle Boxer in order to grab ourselves Kashtira Riseheart as well. So 7th Tachyon ends up being better than something like Rhoda or Tenki would be in a deck like this, because we can pull from either engine, right? Which is very, very cool. There's a lot of times your opponent will go to negate your Fenrir search. You can just 7th Tachyon and grab the Riseheart anyway. There's a lot of times where, you'll go for Unicorn, your opponent might negate it, and then they'll realize you're on full Kashtira engine, where you then go into a Theosis you opened anyway. In a situation like that, if they ash it, they've used all their hand traps at that point, boom, 7th Tachyon for some Zoodiac stuff, and now you can end on the Trident, or again, the F-Zero. F-Zero is actually done by searching Ratpierre. You use Ratpierre to dump any Zoodiac monster, then go into Chakanine, bring back the Zoodiac monster you dumped, and then now you have, multiple Xyz monsters to go into F-Zero, and then UDF as well. So, lots of options here. Also, we do have the ability to play Shifter. I could have gone out of my way to include more Banish cards, like Macro, Cosmos, potentially, but I didn't really want to, so I didn't. I just wanted to fit more hand traps, and although I will say our Fuelos and Maxis don't really have that much to draw into, it's kind of just Imperm, not even always Shifter at that point, because those cards would already be in the graveyard. So I will say that going out on hand traps in a build like this might not be the most ideal. That would be better in like a dedicated Zoodiac deck, but in a Kashtira deck, I should probably either be playing stuff like Macro or Board Breakers. But at the same time, again, these cards are really only good going first or second, although Fuelos is also only good going second, really. So, there's an argument to be made pretty much any way you cut it. But, yeah, I had quite a bit of fun with this list. I don't think this is an optimal Kashtira list, necessarily, but this is a really cool way to play both Kashtira and Zoodiac. And again, just make some good use out of 7th Tachyon, which is really mostly what I was looking to do here. Like I said, I will be looking to try Vanquish Soul with this card as well. I know that's another deck you can use it in that's not necessarily stun or, like, stun adjacent, so Alright, I think that covers pretty much everything about the list. It honestly is really self-explanatory. If you know how Kashtira lines play out, you can play this deck. Zoodiac is literally just a matter of playing Stack'ems with all the different names. So it's, again, pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, let's break the list down card by card, and then I'll show you some of this gameplay. So we're going to be on 2 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 1 Zoodiac Rapier, 1 Zoodiac Whiptail, 3 Zoodiac Thoroughblade, 1 Zoodiac Ramram, 2 Kashtira Riseheart, 3 Molcharmy Fuelos, 1 Dimension Shifter, 1 Kashtira Fenrir, 2 Kashtira Unicorn, 1 Kashtira Ogre, 1 Scareclaw Kashtira, 1 Tier Limits Kashtira, 3 Kashtira Theosis, 3 7th Tachyon, 1 Pressured Planet Raitsoth, 3 Zoodiac Barrage, 2 Kashtira Birth, 3 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Kashtira, mixed up the archetypes there, Kashtira Big Bang, and finally 1 Kashtira Preparations. That's going to be our main deck. For the extra, we're on 1 number F0 Utopic Future, 1 number F0 Utopic Draco Future, we got 1 number 106 Giant Hand, 1 number 105 Battle and Boxer, Star... Cestus? I'm not sure. Anyway. 1 Zoodiac Tiger Mortar, 2 Zoodiac Trident, 1 Zoodiac Borbo, 1 Zoodiac Hammer Kong, 1 Zoodiac Shock 9, 2 Kashtira Shangri-Ira, 2 Kashtira Riseheart, and finally 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus Sky Thunder. And there's our list, so let's look at this gameplay now. Alright, so as always, given that these are going to be Duelist Cup games, not able to view our opponent's deck, so might remember, might not. I actually don't remember what I played against off the top of my head here. I think it's actually a mirror, quote-unquote. I think we're playing against another Kashtira deck. Well, anyway, this is going to be a 13-turn game we got here, and it's starting off very excitingly with me passing turn 1, not doing anything. This is actually Tenpai, I'm remembering it now. So, with a hand like this, I could have gone onto Trident Pass, right? The thing is, I actually think Double Fuelos Imperm is better than Trident Pass. Well, it'd be Trident plus Imperm, of course, but long story short, I'm trading my Trident here to get use of my Fueloses. I think doing that earlier in the game is better than not. So they're going to go for Pydra here. I'm going to play it safe in Imperm and not let them go into anything to try to get advantage off of Fuelos. Because the Zoodiac engine really shines when you have the ability to go into battle, right? So I could go into Trident Pass, and that, I think, would be debatable if it's worth giving up on the Fuelos here, but I think Zeus is definitely worth it. Top decking Fenrir, I'm going to go for that first. Opponent's going to activate Droplet using the Pydra on board to negate. I guess it's a reasonable logic for my opponent here, right, that I don't have any plays, so it's safe to do that. Now, they're going to Fuelos as soon as I normal summon Thoroughblade, which is very, very smart, because in order for me to get really a Zeus or a Trident worth going into, I would need to give them multiple draws. So I will not be doing that. I'm simply going to battle with Thoroughblade and Fenrir and then simply pass. You know, not ideal, but we do have the Fenrir banish to potentially help us, and double Fuelos. Opponent's going to Raigeki our board. That does open up our Fuelos, if nothing else. And thankfully, they just end up passing here. I think Tenpai is getting to be just about as bricky of a deck as Kashtira can be. Here we have 7th Tachyon to go into plays for Zoodiac cards, but our opponent is holding on to an Ash Blossom, and therefore can negate our 7th Tachyon, attempting to go into the Zeus stuff by revealing the Giant Hand there. So I'll simply pass again here. And you're starting to see why this duel was 13 turns. Like I said, both Kashtira and Tenpai feel like weirdly good, but also super bricky at the same time. Here my opponent is shotgunning Perilia. Now, I know I've talked a lot in this channel lately about like not shotgunning max C type effects. Perilia is a notable exception because it plays off the normal summon. I think you kind of have to shotgun this. But unfortunately for my opponent, I really wasn't going to make plays on this turn anyway, so it really does not mean anything for me to pass on nothing here. Alright, here they're going for Genroku. I'm actually very glad to see Genroku in particular because it means I'm going to get use out of my Fueloses here. And we're already holding on to Imperm, so whether they get Pydra or Shundra or Fadra, actually any of them, I can simply Imperm it and will not have to deal with any major boards here. Finding Whiptail and Ash Blossom off the 2 Fuelos draws here. Very, very nice. Love to see it. Going to Imperm the Pydra here. I know they don't have follow-up in their hand because, well, they haven't been playing any follow-up, so pretty reasonable assumption there. All right, passing back over to me here. We're drawing Kashtira, Rise Heart. I would have liked to have seen, like, Unicorn there, but Rise Heart, not exactly the cash monster I'm looking for. It's all good, though, because we still have Whiptail. I'm just going to go straight into Borbo, smack my opponent for 1200 directly, and then now I'm going to stack on every one of my Zoodiac monsters in order to make a 6-material Zeus all along the way. So I'll kind of try to go through these a little bit more quickly here. Yeah, there's Chakanine. I do have Thoroughblade in the graveyard. I technically could have gone for F-Zero here, but I do think the 6-material Zeus is just better. Now here I make a bit of a misplay. So you'll notice I didn't board wipe the Pydra, and you might think, yeah, that seems fine, right? Like, why would you just board wipe the Pydra by itself? You could wait until something like a Shundra or a Sangan Kaimet or something gets activated before you Zeus. I totally did not think about Zeus's literal arch nemesis, Typhon, and the fact that Tenpai almost always plays this card. And being a direct counter is able to simply bounce the Zeus without me getting a chance to activate the effect before smacking me for 2900. Oops! Misplay on my part. I could have won this turn if not for that, although we did just top deck the Unicorn here, so Ash Blossom coming down on the Unicorn, but we do still have the Kashtira Rise Heart in our hand as well. So this is, again, where 7th Tachyon also would have potentially come in handy too. I'm going to rip their Sangenpai Transcendence Dragon because it's their only copy of it in their extra deck. We're going to use Rise Heart, banishing Tear Cash. It's like a cash monster I wouldn't mind summoning, but also don't super want to draw right here. And then we're going to go Era, set Big Bang, and then pass at this point. Alright, now we're going to use Era to pull out Ogre. I'm not really trying to draw Ogre, so it's fine for me to go for it here. They're going to Heavy Storm my face down Big Bang. That's fine. Moving into battle phase, I get smacked over the Ogre. Again, that's also honestly fine. Normal summon Fuelos. They're then going to, I believe, link off into SP Little Knight. Yes. And that's how they're going to out my Era. Yeah, because otherwise, if they let Era live, right, I could have just gone for a Unicorn for Birth, and then now I can just get access to all my cash monsters again. But we're just going to peel our other Unicorn here anyway, summon that, battle before we use the effect in order to get over the Little Knight here. And then my opponent, realizing the inevitable, is going to concede at this point. Because, yeah, now I can go, again, Unicorn for Birth, activate Birth, get, oh god, any number of things, really. I could get... Bring back Ogre, I guess, if I really wanted to. Although, didn't I have Fenrir in the yard as well? Yeah, because we played it earlier in the duel, right? And I got Raigeki. Yeah, so I would have just brought back Fenrir and then gone into Rise Heart. That would have been Era plus a Rise Heart, right? So we definitely would have been good there. But yeah, that duel should have ended a little bit sooner if I just Zeus the Pydra. It had 6 materials. There was no reason for me to not do it. I just wasn't thinking. But there we are. There is that first game. Nice 13 turn back and forth. Again, mostly I think due to brickiness on both text parts, but in any case, yeah, let's go ahead and go into the next game. All right, these next 2 games are definitely going to be shorter than that last one. This one might be a going second game because it's 2 turns, and 2-turn duels tend to be going second ones. Yeah, here we go. So opponent's taking the first turn. Yeah, Ash Blossom plus Emperor. That's pretty reasonable 2 cards to stop our opponent's plays with. It's Hero. They're going to go Vision Hero, Ferris, pitch the Neos. Ferris F, we're going to use the Imperm here. So the thing about Hero, their combo line is really, really long, so it can seem really hard to know when and how to counter them. But the main thing that I've found is that if you can stop Vion, or if you can stop Vion from getting on the field, it becomes much more difficult for them to combo. So the Ferris is going to try to place Increase in the Spell Trap Zone, which will tribute Ferris summon, and then search for Vion. So now here they're going to chain the Mask Change. I was really, really nervous about this at first, because I was like, I don't want to have to deal with Dark Law, but at the same time, I could just summon Ogre and battle over. It's really not that big of a deal here. But they're going to place Increase in the EMZ, or not, sorry, the EMZ, the Spell Trap Zone anyway. They actually tribute the Dark Law. So the Mask Change here was simply to basically Imperm dodge, which actually is a very big relief. Because then when Increase is activating the effect of special, a level 4 lower Vision Hero monster from the deck, I can just activate Ash Blossom. Yeah, again, they're going for Vion. I want to stop them from having access to Vion. They've not used their normal summon, but yeah, on 2 cards, it's not super likely for them to have a relevant extender here. I mean, yeah, they could have gone normal summon Stratos, but that's one of those cases where if they have it, they have it. So here we're going to go Fenrir for Rise Heart, and then go for the Rise Heart effect. My opponent's actually going to concede right there, which, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with. It's funny because the thing about Kashtira and where it often gets these sort of early concedes like this is not even so much in the fact that it could OTK you. It's actually kind of hard for Kashtira to OTK in a lot of game states, but more for the inevitability factor, right? Like, my opponent has 2 cards left in hand. I know neither of them are relevant plays because, well, they didn't even use their normal summon. And it's like, in that kind of a game state, can you really expect to out a Rise Heart plus Era moving forward? Honestly, not super likely, so it's understandable. But yeah, we have one more game to show off. Let's finish off with that one. Okay, this is going to be a 1-turn duel going second, so I'm assuming we make some pretty good use of hand traps here, and that's why I kept this one. I guess we'll find out. Alright, so our opponent's going first, and we've got the Fualos, as well as... Wow, this hand's looking fantastic. Unicorn and all kinds of Zoodiac monsters. Okay, so we're going to leave Sengenjin Weeks from the Millennium. Okay, so here's another instance where you're noticing that I'm waiting to use the Fualos. Although, of course, obviously, if it were Max C, I would have used it in response to Sengenjin effect. But we're not just shotgunning Fualos here. I'm actually waiting for my opponent to get 2 monsters on the field. And then I'm going to activate Fualos. I'm activating Fualos at this point because... I know that a lot of Millennium decks, or I guess rather more apt to say decks using a Millennium engine, will often link into Moon of Closed Heaven and go into Fiendsmith stuff at this point. I would like to get the Fualos out before that happens. And also, they've committed the resources to the board. This is something I often talk about when holding Fualos or Maxi versus shotgunning it. And I continue to see people so undervaluing your opponent using resources. That is something that you should strive for. You should get your opponent to try to waste as many cards as possible. That's like the cornerstone of efficient hand trap use. And not only has my opponent committed to putting multiple bodies on board, but they also paid half their life points. Makes it much easier, especially for a deck like mine, to win on a follow-up turn, you know? I just got done saying that this deck can sometimes have a difficult time OTKing, and this is a good example of that. Now here we're going to get Drolled, and this is another thing about like Fualos and Max C. Like, even if you get Drolled, that's still completely fine sometimes, because your opponent's not going to be able to search either. Now, the way my opponent's playing, it's looking like they're going to be on a pretty typical like Millennium Snake Eyes deck, and yep, they're going to send off the Doomed Dragon, and it looks like that does in fact end up being the case here. So they're going to go into sequence. Shuffling back the 2. I'm actually remembering this game now. They're going for the Fiendsmith's Lacrima. Lacrima effects to bring back the Engraver. At this point, I was like, they're not going to make Beatrice, right? This is going to be like a 3-mat Appaloosa. Because they can't search off Troll and Lockbird. But sure enough, they are going to go for the Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. And I'm like, alright, well, you can't search off of Poplar or Ash. I don't know if you've maybe forgotten that, opponent. Placing the Doom Dragon in the Spell Trap Zone off the Poplar effect. And then, sure enough, here is Promethean Princess that is about to bring back that Poplar. And I'm like, okay, this is completely fine with me. They're going to link the 2 of them off into Sunlight Wolf. I thought this might have been a desperation move, and then I thought to myself, wait, if they go like Normal Summon Oak, they just have the full combo. And sure enough, my opponent's going to go Normal Summon Oak. So, at this point, they have successfully played through their own Droll and Lockbird. And they can just go full combo now, because they can Oak bring back Poplar. Sunlight Wolf is going to simply add back to their hand, but then they end up surrendering? Yeah, I'm really not sure what was up with that surrender. Did they not have another fire monster to bring back? Is that well, that wouldn't have been a reason to surrender, right? So even if that's the case, right, can't you just go Oak F, send Wedju Temple for Flamberge, Flamberge link itself and Poplar into IP, and then Flamberge F, get back your 2. Now you can make, like, you have Prom Princess already set up in the graveyard, right? Yeah, so now you can either just make, like, a 4-mat Apo, but you wouldn't want to do that. Oh, no, you'd want to keep Flamberge in play, so would you really want to link it off? No, you'd want to go Oak plus... there is not really a super clean way to do that, is there? I guess you would have to settle for 2-mat Apo plus IP and not having Flamberge. But that totally defeats the purpose of, like, both IP and Promethean Princess. Maybe that's why my opponent conceded, because they realized that their inboard was going to be super mid. But I mean, like, at the same time, yeah, isn't that why you played through Joel, like why you activated Joel and Lockhart and kept playing. I don't know. It's interesting, but I just wish I could have gotten to show off, like, oh my god, our hand was so cracked here. We would have, like, popped off so hard on our opponent, but it's all good. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's going to be all for this video. Yeah, as always, those of you who are watching right now at the very end, going to give you an extra special thanks because that is definitely one of the best ways to support the channel. Thank you for sticking around and watching the content. Super appreciate it. But like I said, that'll do it for now. So let's move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.